What's going on, everybody? Good Wednesday afternoon from a view in the East Bay right now that kind of resembles a scene out of John Carter, kind of at the moment, as East Oakland and the East Bay have been transferred to the surface of Barsoom. That's Mars, by the way, for you knuckleheads that haven't seen or read the John Carter movie or the novels. Welcome to episode 4 of Kicking It with Kaval. It is, of course, Cpl RFA coming at you from the new Dub 6 studios overlooking the Oakland Coliseum from just a little over a mile away up the hill. Got the main man, the Bauce Man, of course, checking in as well from the tail end of his job over at downtown Oakland. And, of course, Oakland A's team president, Dave Kaval, joining us on the phone from the Coliseum, which is lit up right now. As Ken Korak would say, the lights have taken full effect. Not even before game time yet. Dave, what's going on, man? How are things looking down there at the Coliseum right now at this moment?
Well, at least we have probably the best lights in all Major League Baseball at the Coliseum. So the lights are showing us the way, and we got a little batting practice going on. The Astros are on the field, and the lights are on, and they have taken full effect. And we're going to play under the lights today, and hopefully take a win for the Astros.
Dave, this is Bauce Man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Good hearing your voice.
Man, it's been a while, man, since I got to touch base with you, man. Hope all is well. Love what's going on with the team in this crazy season. I just got to cut to the chase and ask you, what has it been like being a team president under these circumstances? Because being a fan of these circumstances, I can't go to the games. I can't go to the treehouse and get me my favorite adult beverage. I can't get those hot dogs, peanuts, nothing. What is it like for you being there without the fans to go work with or what have you?
Well, I have to tell you, I think, I've always loved our fans. They're the most knowledgeable and passionate of all sports, Oakland A's fans. And, I think not having them here has really made me realize that even more. And so, it's not the same Coliseum without the energy and excitement and just knowledge that they bring. And so, that's kind of been the sad part of the season. But I think the bright spot is the fact that we are playing baseball in the midst of a global pandemic and an economic crisis and the tragedies with systematic racism and all the things that we're facing as a society, and now wildfires and bad air quality. The fact that we can at least be out there on the field and bring the joy and excitement of baseball to our fans and our community is really important. So it's been bittersweet in some ways, and we've just had to have some resiliency to get through this just crazy year. And in spite of it all, we're playing some good baseball, and we're entertaining our fans, which is exactly what we want to do.
Now, Dave, myself and Boss, we have a few times on the show and on social media as well, obviously, during this crazy pandemic that we've been dealing with since March. I've shared with everybody what we've been up to, how we've been going about making sure that we don't contact COVID-19 and go about making sure that we don't involve ourselves in spreading it. What have you kind of done? Obviously, you have a family yourself and, are taking probably every precaution you need, but just like, what are kind of the things you've had to do to adapt and change from what you were normally doing prior to when this whole pandemic went down?
Well, usually I interact with so many people. There's so many folks that I see on a typical day. I might see 100 people that I interact with and have a conversation with and meet with, whether it's office hours or business associates or city council members or players. And so I've had to dramatically curtail that and had to focus on obviously more virtual things like Zoom meetings. And our office has been closed the entire time, and also negotiating with the county to allow us to even use the Coliseum was a challenge at one point this year. So it's been a totally new way. I had to reinvent kind of my day-to-day business and what I've been doing, and try to continue to push the organization and the team forward in a safe way where our employees, our staff, the community, our players are all safe and the right protocols are in place for that to happen. And that's something that we take great pride in, and you can see that obviously when we had a player test positive and it didn't spread to anyone else. So we're doing everything we can to continue that and be smart and set a model for our community.
Dave, now let's talk a little bit about the baseball team. We are, I believe, 4.5 games up on the Houston Astros. Obviously, have 2 more games left, versus for the season series. How does the organization feel right now with October right around the corner?
Well, I think, we had the long layoff because we had the COVID positive. And before that, we had a couple games where we did not play because of, really the tragedy around police brutality and systematic racism. And the team made a very strong statement that we strongly support. And so I think we're getting our legs back under us of playing and getting the pitchers back out there and stretched out. And, it was great to see the performance the last couple days against the Astros. And I think we're just trying to get healthy and kind of in the right, frame of mind for October baseball. And it's going to be here before you know it. And everything about this year has been unusual. So we're just going to have to stay nimble and flexible and, ensure that we're providing everything we can for our team and for our players and for Bob and the guys so they can be as successful as possible, because we really do have a great team and we want to make sure we go as far as possible or maybe the whole way.
Speaking of the playoffs, obviously one of the big hot topic issues that's been kind of discussed the last couple of weeks has been is what exactly is MLB going to have in store as far as the postseason goes. We've heard talks about teams with the best record having home field advantage in the first round and then potentially going to a bubble about that. Many of our followers out there, of course, are familiar with the fact an idea that myself and Grizz from Forever Oakland threw out there is kind of a little bit of a concept for a bubble. Dave, I don't know how much insight you have, and obviously, a lot of that stuff, if you do know, you kind of probably have to keep close to the chest, but what kind of insight can you let us know as far as what things are looking like as far as if the playoffs are going to be going in the direction of a bubble or not?
Well, the Players Association and the league are kind of leading or interacting on those negotiations. We're prepared to support however necessary if there are games here at the Coliseum, if we travel to another location for more of a bubble type arrangement. And I think, I've been really impressed with both Players Association and the league in the protocols they've developed, in the negotiations they've had, in the input that they've solicited from us teams. And so I'm highly confident that they're going to come up with a good approach that balances, obviously, the health and safety, which is the number one priority, but also that allows teams with better records and stuff to have some advantage for the 60-game regular season and their performance. So I think that's what everyone's trying to accomplish. We want to do it in a way where we can get the word out as quickly as possible. But since you don't need to sell tickets and stuff like that, like the pressure is a little different than in a normal year. Other than maybe moving some cutouts around, you can be a little later in the way you handle that, compared to the past.
Dave, I agree with you that Major League Baseball and Players Association, everybody's done a great job working together. But I have to, on the behalf of all A's fans, I got to get your take on the bad job New York has been doing when it comes to replays, man. What's going on?
Well, I've obviously sat here at the games and watched all the replays, and I thought Bob Melvin was funny the other day when we finally got a replay, and he showed more emotion than he did at a walk-off because he was so surprised. And, I think it's challenging. I think the way the rules are written, they say very specifically that it has to have overwhelming evidence to overturn. So it really puts a strong onus to make sure the play is called correctly initially. And I think that's been the hard part. So, I think it's something that obviously gets looked at basically every collective bargaining agreement to ensure that the process is set up correctly for the umpires, for the team, and to make sure that everyone's getting a fair representation. I think replay is an important part of the game. I think there are things that just cannot be seen, but of course it needs to be done in a way where it has strong integrity and everyone feels like it makes sense.
I will say, though, there have been times where it feels like these last couple games with the challenges, it feels like New York's treating us like as if we're the Oakland Raiders now. It's what kind of us we've been jokingly, or at least I've been jokingly telling everybody. Obviously, prior to this whole pandemic going down, there was a lot of stuff going on as far as moving towards getting the draft EIR out for the Howard Terminal Stadium project. How have things kind of, transpired and gone about, and focus shifted about how you guys have gone about trying to deal with and move things forward with the project during the pandemic, and also as well as we try to navigate their things with this going forward until there's a little bit of normalization? How can we, the other members of the fan base who consider to be social media influences out there, and just the rest of the fan base in general, do their part to continue to help out with pushing things forward with making the Howard Terminal project a reality?
Well, it's a great question, and I get asked this quite a bit, and what people need to understand is there's a lot still going on to move the project forward, to get our waterfront ballpark approved and a shovel in the ground. And we've had to change up the kind of order of operation. This was going to be the year we went to the city council and got final approval, but we can't hold those meetings because we can't release some of the documents until you can have public meetings and so on and so forth. So we've had to work more on the bilateral, final deal with the port, getting the State Lands Commission to sign off, getting a development agreement with the city, things that can be done without public meetings. And some of that stuff can get shifted to next year. And so I think fans of the community can look forward and seeing the draft EIR coming out this fall, which will be great. That's like a 1,000-page document that goes through everything on the project. I think by virtue of it taking a little longer, there's been more input from everyone in the community, from the port, the seaport, stakeholders, to fans, to everyone, to ensure that the project is a big success. And that will be important long term. And then I think for people who want to stay involved, obviously if you go to We Are Rooted, which is our website, you can sign up and get the newsletters that we send out about updates on the project. And you can stay informed on what's happening and get the word out that this is just an incredible project for Oakland, and just to ensure that there's no misinformation about this taking away jobs at the port or causing problems or not being privately financed. These are all things that we want to ensure people understand the real facts of this incredible endeavor, so people can get behind it and we can get it approved next year and have an amazing groundbreaking with our community, with our fans.
Most definitely. And Dave, I've seen it. It's funny though, man, because when you came here to Oakland and stuff and joined the organization, you were kind of real relaxed and chilled and stuff, even when you're engaging with people. But man, over the last few months, you have really shown your teeth, man, that you are a wolf. We call you Savage Dave or Kaval Savage or what have you, but you really had to put people in check about the particulars about Howard Terminal, about the job loss accusations, and the reason why how can I say it, a downtown ballpark or somewhere near downtown ballpark is very vital to overall team success has been a trend in baseball. Could you touch on that a little bit more, so some fans who are not clear, you try to make it clear on why you guys have chosen Howard Terminal?
Well, it's a great question, and we get it a lot. And if you look around baseball and you look at the most successful venues, whether it's Progressive Field in Cleveland or AT&T Park or Oracle Park now in San Francisco or PNC Park in Pittsburgh, they're in downtown urban environments. They not only draw the most fans, but they have the greatest amount of economic impact for small businesses, the city government, county, generating tax dollars. They're not only just sustainable, but they create thriving centers for these cities. We can create the same thing at the waterfront in Oakland, and that vision, I think, is so powerful. And I know it's different than kind of where we play now, 6 miles south of the city at the Coliseum, and it's been a great home for us for 52 years. But this vision for our future, our next chapter in Oakland, can usher in so many positive things. And it can do it in a way, like you said, it's not going to interfere with the port. This is 2% of the port property. It hasn't been used in almost 10 years. It will affect no job, and they're good jobs at the port. We want to ensure those jobs are still here, and they're thriving for many years to come. So we can have both. We can have a thriving port. We can have a privately financed ballpark at the waterfront, and all those things can come together in a positive way if we focus on the positive, work together, and ensure that this project is a success. And I think we're on that road, and I just want to ensure that people don't have any misinformation out there, that if we get the record straight, and people can evaluate this on the merits of the project.
Well, because I just wanted, and sorry not to cut you off, but jump in before you keep, but I just have to ask, because we see in the news, we see op-eds, we've seen YouTube videos, the ILWU and other unions down there are still objecting to Howard Terminal. They feel like they weren't included in the process per se. You might have talked to the port commissioners, but they felt like there hasn't been enough dialogue with them. That's at least what they're saying. From your side of perspective, how do you feel when you hear things like that from the opposition?
Well, I think it's important to remember that we have 134 unions that have endorsed the project, which is the most of any project in the history of the Bay Area. So we have widespread union support. I think I want to be very clear that we respect the opinion and feelings of the ILWU, of the maritime interests, of all the big industrial operators at the port. And we have sat down with all of them one-on-one. I have an open door policy, and we've heard their concerns. And we've actually crafted a deal with the port that deals with many of the things they were worried about. Compatibility between trucks and people and cars, and ensuring that they're in separate tracks, and doing an environmental report that actually has that. Ensuring that the turning basin could be enlarged at Howard Terminal. Ensuring there's a buffer zone between the industrial uses and the commercial uses. So all those things are part of the core project. And I think with those additions, where we listened and we made adjustments based on their input, I think we truly have a project that can be a win-win. And I think as long as everyone works in good faith to achieve something, we can have success. And I know that will happen in Oakland.
As we all know, obviously, everyone's had challenges and has had to adapt with the way things are going on right now out there in this 2020 year that we're all dealing with. One of those things, obviously, that's kind of been a little bit tougher for you guys to deal with, obviously, is the community outreach and stuff with the A's community program. And also, as well, I want to thank you and the team again for everything you guys have been able to do with the limited staff members you have and resources as well with the outreach and help you guys have done for my family and I after everything my aunt or happened with my aunt. Explain a little bit, if you can, just, the challenges of that this year and how you guys have been able to deal with that and approach it as the years gone on compared to how you've had to deal with that stuff in the past.
Well, it's been really hard because two things are happening. One, the community needs us more than ever, whether it's the Black community that, has really been affected by many of the things that are happening in our community, whether it's economically small businesses, whether it's people's health and wellness, or even the fires now. And so they needed the A's more to be an actual organization that can stand up and be a platform for change and be a platform that can, really advance fundraising and giving money ourselves. But by the same token, we haven't had the same resources because many of the fundraising we normally do at the games doesn't happen. Our revenues are obviously down. So that's been a challenge. And so what we've tried to do is just prioritize as many ways that we can outreach to people as possible, people in need. We put together a whole plan with the African American Chamber of Commerce, with Color for Change, organizations that are working to fight systematic racism, both in Oakland and then nationally, and how we could do that and not only invest funds, but actually use our platform as a place for education. That's been critically important and something that we as in terms of our club and our players feel very strongly about. And then also, we've had COVID, and we've had people with really challenging health outcomes, and we've tried to do what we can to improve access to testing and help small businesses that have to be shut down because of social distancing. And so we're trying to do everything we can to make a difference. And we've done everything from public service announcements with masking with our players, both in English and Spanish, which has been very, very helpful, to now trying to do more fundraising and awareness around the fires and air quality and staying inside. And so it's been an unprecedented year in so many ways, but it's also been a year where I think the importance of the A's as a community asset has shown itself. And, we're doing our small part to hopefully make positive change here in Oakland and in the East End.
Yeah, and we are glad that you are about making positive change, because I've always been a person to say that teams, man, are supposed to be an extension and kind of reflection of the communities. They're supposed to work hand in hand, so I do commend you on that. I was going to ask, what is the relationship like with the politicians? As you know, me and your private conversations, whenever I see you at the Coliseum, I did tell you from the jump that it is tough dealing with the political atmosphere here in the East Bay. From the time you started to now, what are your thoughts about the political bodies here and dealing with them?
Well, I have very strong relationships with everyone from the mayor to the city council members, the council president, Rebecca Kaplan, the county supervisors like Dave Miley and Steve Carson. So, we are in tune with everyone. And I think, those relationships have gotten deeper and deeper over the last couple of years as, we've really reaffirmed our commitment to Oakland and our mantra, rooted in Oakland. But by the same token, there have been a lot of challenges in the community, whether it's public safety or the environment or environmental justice or even social equity that are challenging. And that those are things that are probably higher on the list with some of these politicians than the baseball team. And I think all we're asking for is a fair analysis and consideration of this incredible project that we're bringing forward, and to ensure that the A's can be here for many generations to come. And I think if that happens, I think it can be something that improves the quality of life for Oakland, the economic impact. The project is $7 billion in economic impact, 6,000 permanent jobs, 3,000 construction jobs. All those things together are appealing to the politicians and the elected officials. They know that those things are important for constituents. And I think that's why more and more you see them supporting the project with more enthusiasm because of that, because of the relationships we have.
I'm going to go ahead and throw a fan question here at you. This is from our good friend David Lewinsky, who's followed the show on and off for roughly almost the entire 17-plus years we've been doing this little madness here. Dave, with the exit of the Raiders, can we, by the beginning of the 2021 season, have more A's murals and signage / banners replacing all those where the Raiders ones are / were, being that the A's are the complex's only loyal 10? Separately, can we get a gondola funding update and infrastructure update for Howard Terminal?
Well, first on the Raiders thing, absolutely. And that's potentially even going to be more acute because, we have a agreement in place to buy the county's portion of this site. And, we're in conversations with the city on their half, too. So, at some point, we might just own our home. And so then, you have a lot more say in what you can do. You don't have to go to a government body. So that all is in the works. And, those signs are down now. We're going to have more A's signage, more positive signage in our brand here. So that's, I think, super positive. On the gondola side, we put in for several grants at the state level. And also, it's something that is in consideration at the federal level because it is such an innovative transportation device. And we are getting its environmental clearance through the EIR. It's an alternate in the plan, which is great. And we're excited to continue to advance that. I think it can be an attraction for Oakland, a way to connect the waterfront to downtown that's kind of severed by the 880, the Nimitz Freeway. And we're going to continue to push that because of the many benefits it can bring to the community.
Just changing up kind of a little bit here. Recently, you were on a podcast that was on YouTube, and a good friend of the show, Richard Hike, asked you a question in relation something about different sports at the Coliseum site, and you mentioned local Bay Area businessman Ray Bobbitt when talking about possibly bringing the NFL back to Oakland. What was that about?
Well, we had a conversation, me and Taj Deshambe, who's our VP of Government Affairs, with Ray and his group. And I think they're working on potentially trying to secure another NFL team for Oakland. And obviously, we wish him and his group the best in that type of endeavor. Obviously, there's challenges with anything like that. And, we're focused, obviously, on our efforts here. And, I'm not exactly sure where they are in that process. That conversation was quite some time ago. But I know that was something they were looking at. And I don't know if it was the Coliseum site or multiple sites they were looking at potentially today, or I'm not even sure if it was maybe even playing at Levi's, but another team in the Bay Area, because obviously the Raiders departed. So that was an interesting idea and an interesting concept, and we'll have to see where that goes.
A couple other fan questions I wanted to throw at you. This is from Quetzalcoatl Cortez and also from Kingpin Brian. They would like to know what the hell happened to the cardboard cutout of Trash Can Orbit.
I really don't know. I think that was here, and I don't have to look around. I got 15,000 cutouts, so I'll go around today. I'll take a look and see what I can find.
Okay. Boss, you got anything else to throw at Dave too?
Yeah, I do. Dave, next year at some point, we don't know what the future holds, but let's just, knock on wood, fingers crossed, whatever, toes crossed. If they do allow fans back at the Coliseum for the 2021 season, where the defending World Series champs, hopefully, can we get you on the grill over there at the tailgate to do a cook-off against long-time fan of the show, Mike Davey? We want to see those cooking skills. We want to see if you have bars, man, as a barbecue man, Dave. Everybody wants to see it. When can we see it?
Are we going to do, this is my question, Bob, this is my question. Are we going to do the grilling or are we going to do the smoking? Because I can go either way. We can grill the tri-tip, we can smoke the ribs, we can do a beer can chicken. I have a lot in my arsenal, so you just have to let me know what we're going to do, and I'll get all my special rubs out, and we'll get it on. So I'm happy to have a little barbecue cook-off. That'd be a really fun time, and I like grilling meats and barbecuing and smoking, and it's a great hobby of mine. So yes, let me know when and where.
Nice. I like that. I like you're versatile in your cooking apparatus. I like that a lot, Dave. But just one last thing. I asked you it up on Twitter, but everybody asks you a million questions on Twitter. But I got to ask you this. When Howard Terminal has its opening day, can me and the Corporal get a live interview with you, Mr. Dan Campbell, on the rooftop at the new venue? Can we get that? Exclusive.
Absolutely. Consider it done. I would be honored to have an interview with you guys at the rooftop park at the Howard Terminal Ballpark. That would be a great moment, and I look forward to it. We're going to get a selfie together, and we're going to have 3 really big smiles, and we won't have to be socially distant.
Right. I'm definitely looking forward to that as well. I'll go ahead and make this be the last question. It's the last fan question we have as well. It's from NorCal Nodders, and it's a question that's also seconded by Kingpin Brian. They would like to know if any of the pins will be hitting MLB Shop or Fanatics, because the pin collectors are fiending, apparently.
I've asked several times Fanatics about that, and I haven't got a straight answer. So let me check again, because it is something that typically occurs. So I know some of the supply chains and everything got kind of messed up this year, but let me check back in, and I'll get everyone an update out on Twitter.
Dave Kaval, ladies and gentlemen, episode 4 of Kicking It with Kaval is in the books. Both of you gentlemen, be safe out there tonight, and hopefully the Astros didn't go and recruit John Carter to come out there and rob some fly balls off y'all for some reason or somehow tonight. Boss, you take care. Be safe over there in downtown Oakland. Dave, you take care and enjoy the rest of your evening as well.
All right, thanks, guys. Let's go Oakland.
That's right.